feelings hurt. Read this.
Booty!
Huh?
I like to get people out of state.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes I
Trip them off.
I like to catch people off guard.
Off guard?
Yeah. Crap, did he freeze?
You took him way off guard. Did we start?
Yeah, we started.
Oh, we started.
That was
Oh, hey! Welcome to
Kármán Line Short Review.
Kármán Line Short Review.
Short film roundup.
This.
No.
Sorry.
You shut up.
Sorry. I'm
Shut
sorry.
up.
I'm sorry. Kármán Line Short.
Kármán
Review.
Line
Thank
Short
you.
Review.
I'm sorry.
And this happens to be the only place in the world where
This is the only place in the world
where you can watch three cursed filmmakers review your short film.
That was
user submitted short films.
A user submitted short, like, because you're
that
the
real?
user, you submit it,
user,
we review it.
and you submit it.
That's how it goes. It's all very simple.
Kill yourself. Good.
Good.
What?
What are we doing today, Taylor?
Oh, we're gonna review this movie called Skeletons.
Who's it directed by?
I don't know.
'Cause I don't know.
Ted.
Yep.
Yes, this was Skeleton, directed by Todd and Lee.
There's a link below so you can watch it yourself. Watch it.
Yeah, but
Nice.
But we're gonna go ahead and say.
Now we'll
Give a
sum it
little
up.
synopsis.
Let's sum it up.
I'll go ahead and sum it up.
Thank
Go.
you.
There's a commercial about a dude who's selling skeletons to you.
He's like the salesman, too.
Yeah, and then it cuts out of the commercial into suddenly a horror movie.
Yeah.
Where he's in a warehouse and the skeletons come alive, and then you never see the skeletons actually come alive, but it's insinuated, and then he sees someone getting killed by a skeleton, but then at the end, turns out Marv, who's the guy who sells skeletons, kind of knew about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or something.
Or something.
What a twist.
The end's a little ambiguous
Ish.
or confusing.
Maybe.
We'll get into that.
clever.
We'll get into that.
What? Okay.
We'll get into it.
Well, let's get into it. First impressions.
First impressions. Go Taylor.
Okay, my first impressions of this movie was seems like a pretty decent practice film.
Why do you say practice film?
I say practice because I don't really see too much of a reason as to why, like, it didn't feel like there was a point to the movie, and it felt like there was a lot of tropes of horror, and it felt like someone who said, you know what, I kind of want to make a horror movie and see what that is like, and play with the tropes and see if I can just kind of create a little suspenseful thing. And it also had a little bit of a light-hearted tone, I want to say.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way too.
And so it felt like they weren't taking themselves too seriously, and that's kind of what gave me a practice kind of vibe. And there's, like, some little weird editing stuff and stuff like that. But overall, I would say it's a pretty decent movie, I would say.
My first impressions, I believe it kind of reminded me of that other YouTube channel that I forgot what the name was called, and it's
Embarrassing.
It's a horror YouTube channel that's based on
TV,
on like late night TV commercials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that one.
Yes.
The weather thing.
Yeah. It reminded me of that because of the aesthetic that they chose to go with, which was like this late night kind of infomercials. Yeah. That they come on. And I thought they were going that way with the way that it ended also. Like everything's one big encompassing kind of thing, but it didn't really do that. It kind of left me a little confused at the end, and I was just kind of like, oh, it seemed fun in the middle. It left me a little confused. That was my impression.
I felt like this was a couple of filmmakers who said, hey, I want to make a movie, and they're like, what do we got? And they're like, well, my aunt has like 30 boxes of skeletons from last Halloween. Maybe we could use that. And made a movie around that.
Made a movie.
I don't buy that these guys went out and bought 100 skeletons to make the short film. It's just not the vibe I'm getting. Maybe they did. But I liked the infomercial segments much more than I liked the narrative.
I did too.
Part.
Yeah.
Because it had an aesthetic.
Right.
It kind of felt like it was trying to convey something.
Yeah. Yeah, like the whole film, like in between, seemed to lack aesthetic.
Yeah, it was like 120% generic.
Right.
Like
wow.
in every single way.
120%.
Yeah, 120% generic.
Right, but
I'd
beginning
agree,
and end was not.
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that's what made it stick out
Yeah.
even more.
That's interesting. I wonder if they like stuck with that look throughout the whole thing. Like if the horror film was in the commercial.
It would have been that would be interesting.
Yeah.
If it like stayed in that aspect ratio.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the guy who's selling skeletons with an infomercial raises so many questions.
Right.
It makes you go like, whoa, there's something going on here. All of a sudden, my story decoding, indicators are going off. Boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
This is a story. I'm engaged.
It's quite weird, yeah.
Right? But the little horror short in the middle is like literally all things we've seen a billion times, and so you just don't care at all.
Right.
So all those flashing lights just turned off.
Right. He had something really interesting to work with and
Yeah.
went the other way.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, let's talk about our first subject, which is directing. Directing.
directing.
Take directing seriously. It's important.
We define directing as the ability to execute a vision, or the lack thereof.
Yes. At least that's how we judge directing done well.
Yeah.
Is that there was
How well they execute.
there was clearly a vision that had to be led to direction.
Yeah.
To being executed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The execution.
You see a vision that clearly didn't happen by accident.
Right.
You know, there's a strong director.
There's a strong director, right? There's a person that went by Meg Scaff a while back that gave us some films.
Max Scaff.
Max Scaff. Yeah.
Max Scaff. Terry Kindle and the Orange Green is what it was called. Their first film, and they gave us another one that was called something else similar.
Yeah.
But they had a super interesting vision there, and I wanted to talk about how that's the way we define direction is that there's a super interesting vision, and how they executed it. So generic stuff kind of falls off the radar a little bit.
I think also direction could be said about how you confusion.
Yeah.
Like if people are really confused at your movie, then there's definitely a communication error, unless you've intended your movie to be confusing.
Right. Like the last film we talked about. Right?
Yeah.
Which was something that was artsy.
Yeah.
Oh, No Plows for the Dead.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah. But this
Intentionally
one,
confusing.
Right.
this one did not feel like
So
it was
good direction.
it was trying to be confusing.
No.
But it certainly does have a lot of confusing elements to it that
Right.
are questionable. Some leaps that need to be made, and a lot of questions raised that I don't know if were intended to ever be answered or not, or
Yeah.
what. I guess that the idea is like refining it into a point. Like
Right.
like D, you always say it's like the ending would tell you
ending-
why you watch the whole movie.
Yeah, the ending contextualizes exactly what you said.
And so that's not really
That's not
apparent in this
Yeah,
movie?
that's not apparent. At least not to me. I love like you, Kenny said, the beginning of here is so it's interesting because
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Just
Yeah, it's kinda funny.
Who wants bones?
Who wants bones?
Yeah,
right.
it's interesting.
And why he has so many, and like it's just strange. And then when we straight go to our horror movie, yeah, it straight feels like just like a generic film.
Yeah. And that's why I say it's a practice movie, because like it is so generic.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel like they tried really hard to tell a story here.
Right.
No, yeah.
Right.
It was just they just happen to be creative guys.
Well, there was
Yeah,
something
just, like, messing
interesting
around.
that happened with the editing a little
I like
bit.
that frame you just stopped on.
It's a good frame.
That's actually kind of creepy.
It's good.
There's some of the I believe some of the direction leaked into the editing here, or is I guess
Directed.
like directed editing.
Yeah.
Like there's like the point when the box opens up and there's a false scare. You know,
Yeah,
like that seems like vision heavy to me. Like the person.
definitely. I got that vibe too.
Yeah.
I got almost leaning on camp with that.
That's also how
Well,
I felt.
It feels
you know?
camp, but it feels intentional.
Intentionally camp.
Yeah, intentionally camp. And it was kind of weird because the rest of the movie didn't feel that way.
Especially the ending.
Yeah, especially the ending where it seemed almost surreal.
Yeah.
It was surreal.
It was surreal.
Yeah.
where we start merging worlds,
Yeah.
and that was interesting because you're telling us something, but the message was not clear
Not
whatsoever.
Clear, But it's also not clear if it's supposed to be clear or not.
Right. And so the vibe that we got from that was that someone figured this is creepy.
Yeah.
So let's put it in there.
Yeah.
So the aspect ratio clearly has some meaning, right?
I don't know if it meaning, but I mean it definitely makes you.
It's supposed to suggest like
You're watching it on TV.
a different
yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you're a different type of observer
Right.
when we're watching this rounded aspect ratio.
Right.
It's like we're watching a TV commercial.
Right.
But then when it opens up, it's like we're no longer watching a TV commercial. We're there
Yeah.
as a first person observer.
Right.
And then we bounce back out, which makes me wonder how connected the three parts are.
Right. Which is what, and it comes back to that saying that the ending contextualizes the movie, and I think
But it didn't.
it didn't.
Not in this case,
That's what the
yeah.
problem is.
Right.
Is that we come to the end and we get confused about what we just watched in its entirety. Right. If it didn't have this ending, we would have been like, oh, it's a generic horror film. But because it does have this ending, now it makes us think, okay, wait, this is much more than a generic horror film.
Yeah.
But what is
But
it?
what is it?
Right.
Yeah. More questions than answers.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You could do that if you want to.
If you want to, but I mean, it's like, and clearly there's a message here, but I just don't know what the message is.
The ending is confusing because it's not letting us know whether or not we're supposed to be picking up on something that it's trying to say, or if it is supposed to be left ambiguous, because the movie up to that point had not been ambiguous whatsoever.
Right.
It had been even a little comedic,
Right.
a little funny, and it had been very on the nose for the most part.
Yeah, we went from almost comedic to now serious.
Yeah, and
The guy coming out and us returning to this other aspect ratio felt like this part is meant to be a reveal of some
like a
kind.
Twilight Zone thing.
Like showing some
A twist.
the final missing piece of information we needed, and
Right.
then we go, oh, I see what's going on here.
right, like he was like behind the whole thing or something.
But
Yeah.
I have no idea what that information
Right.
was.
Yeah, where he talks about adopting skeletons.
so what I'm saying is, he's aware that the skeletons are alive,
Yeah.
and that he's selling them with that intention, but that doesn't really mean anything for the movie.
Right. So in the if it was just in the beginning, just him talking about skeletons as opposed to their bones, right? He's talking about, I got these bones, little bones, for 25
Yeah.
cents and whatever. So he's talking about that. He looks like just a regular salesman. If he was more ambiguous here and he was just saying that he has skeletons to sell, and then it just went straight from there into the film, and then we have the same ending, I feel like that would have capped it better. Because now, instead of like a split personality,
Yeah.
he's like
There's
this
more like
overseer. kind
Now
of thing.
more is revealed rather than things have changed.
Right, exactly. Yeah, more is revealed, exactly.
It felt like this opening scene was just creating the context for the location
That's how I felt
yeah.
too.
of where
yeah.
where the movie was going to take place.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
right. It did feel
So
that
it's
way.
like, yeah, there's a warehouse full of skeletons because that's what we do here. We sell skeletons.
Right.
And now a horror movie
And now
about
horror
a guy
movie.
that gets killed by skeletons. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But it's like all of that just got chucked out the window by this weird ending.
By the
Yeah.
ending, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
I liked all the practical effects stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I like the campy stuff.
I mean, it was all it was textbook. It was like just by the book.
Right. It was very by the book. And I kind of liked that because of how fun and fast it was. In fact, but there was one part that annoyed me, and it was this part where he discovers his friend who looks dead
Yeah.
from the skeleton.
He is dead.
And he reacts kind of like,
Like he's
Well,
intrigued.
not only that is that like after he sees this skeleton pop out and eat him, he's
Right.
scared. He runs away.
He runs away.
Tries to get out, and then a beat later, he's just back to calmly
Yeah.
examining the room.
Yeah, comes over here, goes, crap,
So,
crap, and then
terrifying. And then
the noise, and now he's perfectly fine again.
yeah, like you should be like just losing your mind at
Right.
this point. If
Right.
You just saw a little skeleton eating your friend.
Well, especially if he reacted
just-
like that in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of character is not going to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
And I thought that's where the camp kind of came in. I thought they would just start more scares, but it didn't turn out that way. And I wonder if it's just because this wasn't necessarily written, like you said, like a practice film. I do feel like it just kind of hit story beats. It was really well edited, though. I thought that was really nice.
Should we talk about the editing?
I think we could. Do you want to?
Yeah, I have a few things I could say about it.
Okay. Why don't we go...
Editing.
The makers of this program would like to interrupt this program to talk about their other programs. Go D!
If you happen to be a filmmaker and you've made a short film and you want to hear us talk about it, you can submit it to us via the link in the description.
And if you love what you are seeing here and want to dive deeper into making better movies, you need to join us at our Facebook group, The Kármán Line Cult. There, we have daily discussions about filmmaking, we have weekly live streams, and all kinds of other cool cult-like activities.
And now back to the program.
Wow, you just did that. Wow, look at that. We're in editing now.
So, was it too fast?
A little bit.
Get a little ahead of your...
It's a little weird.
You weren't ready.
I wasn't, no.
But
now we're in the editing space.
We're here now.
we have to
The
just
icons
deal
up
with
there
it.
now.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah,
so.
can't take it down. So.
I'll be more careful. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, editing.
There's one shot where we were talking about earlier where we said the vision was coming through in the editing with that fake out jump scare.
Yeah.
Where there was like one extra shot in that just really shouldn't be there.
You're talking about in the jump scare?
Yeah, like back when they're in the office.
Oh, and the
looking
fake
through-
jump scare.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The fake one.
Yeah,
Like, let this play out for a
part.
second.
Yeah, that was weird. Right there.
Yeah, that. Like, that felt like 3 frames that were accidentally left in.
Yeah, what
to me.
was that? Okay.
Oh.
I don't know what the heck's going on there.
Yeah, that's like another shot. Right
Yeah.
there.
Jeez.
It's like,
Yeah, I
wow.
can't even pause it there.
Why is there a shot that short? What's going on here? I didn't even notice
Right
that
there.
the first time.
Yeah.
That does look like a mistake.
Yeah.
That's got to be a mistake.
Interesting.
That shot doesn't do anything.
No, I think what happened is they probably forgot to shoot the front of this guy's face. And so they're just establishing that he is actually at the window.
Oh, okay.
And so they
so
figured, oh, that's
weird
the only thing.
how
It's
fast it
very
goes,
odd.
too.
Yeah.
It's literally like a couple frames.
Yeah, especially since everything else was very intended.
Yeah.
And then we got that. Yeah, that is very odd. Interesting.
Maybe it was supposed to be frantic
Maybe.
to heighten the jump scare, but it just felt janky.
It felt
you know?
janky, yeah. It felt,
It
a
felt
little weird.
unintentional.
I thought the editing was, for the most part, pretty good.
I actually did too. I felt like I had a pretty good flow.
Was this shot in like 30 frames a second?
Looks like it. I kind of like that motion blur.
I'd call it 29.
29.95.
Mm-hmm.
I'd call it 29.97.
23.94.
Okay.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, I guess so.
I love that when the lights go off and then we hear, his voice continue, and then we cut into the flashlight.
That is cool.
I really like that for some reason, and I think it's because I don't know. It follows a trope, of doing that, but I don't know.
It's just something you like.
It set the mood
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah,
I just liked it.
can we lop music into editing?
Yeah.
'Cause it's a post-production
Why not?
choice.
Sure, why not?
Yes.
This movie got scarier when they dropped the music out.
Yeah.
So they used scary ambient music for this beginning of him looking around and finding the dead guy, but then after he runs to the door, it's locked, and he starts his second exploration. The music drops out, and you only hear his footsteps and the weird noises that the skeleton's making somewhere in the room.
Yeah.
And it's far more effective.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did feel some tense.
Yeah, a little bit. I
tense.
mean, I think silence is a lot scarier when you're looking for something.
Right.
You're looking for something, you know it's there, and you might be in danger.
Right.
Silence is way scarier.
Well, so the thing I think that really works with horror films is where you, like, we talk about the sum of 4 concept.
What? What's
There's
that?
a
No
video
way.
right
Whoa,
here
link,
about it.
bam.
Yeah, watch that, and so we're not going to explain it.
But with the amount of information that the audience needs to infer in horror films, the question is presented: hey, there's something scary going on, or hey, there's something that's going to happen. And then the audience has to say, okay, what is it? Right? And then usually directors just don't give that information. You know, they're like, well, I'm not going to show you the monster, or we're not going to show you what exactly is happening. So the audience has to like infer it, or they have to kind of grasp it, or they have to imagine it. And that gets you immediately hooked, you know, into a scary situation such as this. So when you have no sound, none of that, I feel like that's gripping the audience even more, because they're putting in all the information in their mind.
Yeah, using music can be pretty tricky in terms of like, you don't want to be too overbearing, and you know, silence is very powerful, and I agree with all of what you said. And then there's also trying to find the time, like, when do you use music to heighten the mood, and when is it appropriate to like get the most out of music?
Right.
And like, that's such a hard call. It's almost
hard.
like you have to decide beforehand.
Almost.
You have to like decide in like previs.
There was a movie that we did called something Stories of the Subconscious Mind. I remember the music for that being, I think, particularly well done.
I think that would be really cool if you could determine where and what with your score before you shoot.
Yeah.
Because I think you would shoot differently.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think we should work that into the previs on our next upcoming film.
Yeah.
Not that
probably.
we're making a film because we're stuck in the void.
Well, we can make films here.
It's a void film.
Oh, void film.
We got cameras.
Payman provides us with equipment and stuff.
And sets.
And sets.
And actors and
Craft services.
craft services.
Wow.
Yeah. It's all SAG regulated.
SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah. You didn't know?
After what?
SAG-AFTRA, the hangover wears off.
Oh, jeez. Let's go to cinematography.
Cinematography!
What was these things that they were
At
showing
first I
here?
thought he was picking up like pieces
Blood.
of flesh.
Yeah, that looked like an ear
like
and a piece of beef
bacon or
jerky.
something. Yeah, like beef. But it was too hard to tell.
Is it blood?
I don't know what
it's,
that
Oh,
is.
no,
it's
it's
little
something.
chunks of something. Then there's a piece on this box, and he's like, "What is this?"
So is it just
But it
bloody stuff?
It looked like fabric. Maybe
It's a rabbit.
torn shirt.
You're a rabbit.
It's
What?
What is that?
behind the rabbit? It is the rabbit.
It is the rabbit.
What is there to say about cinematography, D?
Oh well, there's
Don't
the
you
one
know?
shot.
I
Yeah.
do want to talk about the one shot, which is
This one.
this one.
I just.
I'm not sure why we have it.
Why? What's weird about this?
He walks down there to go into this other room, and we go. Woo.
It
Back
looked
to
like it was a
where-
very slow shot.
Oh, I understand why that happened.
You understand why it was slow?
No, that's a weird shot, but like, because that's how you get into that room.
Well, sure.
But that's just a weird way to show that thing.
I think they could have done a pan.
It was
just as
really
easily.
weird until they've established the geography of the set,
Yeah.
the space a little better. A few more shots let us know what was going on with that space. But sliding over like that, as he literally, from the camera's perspective, he went a very long way to move about 3 feet.
Yeah.
Because the character leaves from one side of the shot and ends on the other side of the shot. But we don't really have the spatial understanding to know why until we cut to a couple the reverse.
To know why he's in that room, or what do you mean?
To
know why he had to walk
he
all the way
basically
around there.
left and came back to almost where he started.
And we learn later that there's not a door there for him to go into.
Oh, for
Yeah.
me it was.
It was weird to me
I
to see him walk down and then come back up.
That didn't bother
Because
me
I
a whole
haven't
lot.
seen the space. I didn't understand why he was doing that.
Right. No, it did. I mean, yeah, they could have, I think, showed the space a little bit better with a different shot. What was weird for me was that the camera was obscured so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it was, you know, I think it's fine to have that, to have the camera pass through a wall or something
I
like
think
that.
that's it. It is like when you do that, it usually means some kind of transition or passage of time.
Right.
So like you almost expect him to come out this other side with like a different costume on or
Right.
something like
right.
that.
That,
you know?
yeah, that you're intentionally showing it.
Now
for
it's
some reason.
nighttime.
Something has changed.
Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and we've said this so many times, we'll say it again, everything that you show on the screen, is showing intention.
Yeah.
And so...
And we were just saying that dolly side to side is usually used for passage of time.
Yeah, as an observer effect.
Yeah.
You're seeing something taking place. And here I think it's just a transition from one room to the next, and that's all it is. And I think all it is the person who's holding the camera thought it would be interesting, and that's probably about it. And I don't think there was much thought put into it. It also reminds me of this shot over here. This part. So he looks back when he hears the noise, which is a great shot, by the way. I love that heavy third. And then he slowly creeps up, and there, I think, is where you need to cut. Because then we continue, and we kill the suspension because now he's where he was looking. And we understand, oh, no, there's nothing there. So what's happening now? And so we cut to an almost identical shot, which kills the suspension for me.
Yep. Truth.
That's your fucking preaching it, dude.
You know what?
Thank you, D.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank
D.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, D. Is that offensive?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I really liked
Late at night, we're covering a horror movie.
I really liked their continuity shot thing here.
That they did a good job of dragging him away.
Yeah.
That is one powerful 2-foot skeleton.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that
funny.
shot is that almost in every horror movie you see, there's always a person getting dragged out into the dark, but it's always at their point, not their point of view, but the opposite point of view, right? Where you're at the ground level looking at them, they're being pulled away. I like that they stayed away from that and they kind of stayed up here. And then went back to the flashlight. Like, I love that idea. If only they capped it a little bit better, because this makes no sense.
The ending.
This ending. At least for me. At least for all of us. All three of us.
At least for the three of us, which does make up 100% of the audience today.
Yes, it does.
Do we have more to say? Shall we move on to questions?
You guys have anything more to say?
Preguntas?
Preguntas.
Por favor?
Okay.
The first and last parts were done really well.
Poke!
Dude, that's offensive.
I'm sorry.
Is that a boat hat?
Uh-huh.
Preguntas.
I'm sorry.
That's offensive.
I'm really sorry, guys.
I'm not sorry.
This is the part where we ask questions directly to the filmmaker. If you are not the filmmaker, please share your own questions. You can write them right below this video. The filmmaker often answers our questions. He'll answer your questions too. And we all get to learn and grow.
Wow.
Heck of a lot of fun.
It's so cool. Here we go. Questions.
Heck of a lot of fun.
Questions.
I'll start.
Yep.
Was this written? And if it was, what was that ending? What did that mean? And do you want it to mean anything? Is it supposed to be ambiguous? Because if it is supposed to be ambiguous, I'm not sure if we know enough information for it to be ambiguous, if that makes any sense. It's as if you showed us the spinning, token at the end of Inception without telling us what the token meant.
Whoa!
Ouch. Good question.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
My
go.
turn.
You go. Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
Which came first, the film
Chicken or the
idea,
egg?
your film idea, or all these skeletons?
That's a good question.
Yeah. We always say, if you're just itching to make a movie, you take an inventory of what you have access to and go write a movie about that.
I'll say that about this movie, by the way.
I bet that's what happened.
Because the space matched perfectly for what the movie was about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great.
And they did, even though the ending is weird, they did set up the context for why skeletons are haunting this building.
Yeah.
And they did a pretty good job of
Yeah.
that.
And it also makes me feel better about the whole movie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys did rent a warehouse and bought
a bunch of
skeletons,
that'd be a little
because
weird.
you had this vision of telling this story, then I'm really curious as to why.
That's the why.
This story's not strange.
It's a weird story, but it's cool. That's my question.
My question would be, what kind of films do you want to make, and what are you currently working on at the moment? That's it. Bam. Simple. Easy. no extravagance.
Hey, nice job. Keep it simple.
Keeping it simple.
It's all about that balance.
Keep it simple, stupid.
It is all about that. It's all relative too.
You guys doing inside jokes?
D's not related. It's not all relative.
Well, D is relative to. It's relative to me.
Thank you for sending in your short film.
Oh yeah,
you guys. Hey,
that's
thanks
right.
for sending us the movie. That was really fun, and I hope to see a lot more of your work in the future. Keep us busy here in the void. We got nothing to do. We talk about making movies. We never do it. We
noticed, by the way, your YouTube channel has 3 other films.
Send those to us,
or what it seems like 3 other films.
Yeah, we'd love to watch those.
Send those, or tell us what your channel is about. You know, it'd be cool to see. Are you guys doing like
your aspirations?
Yeah, are you doing horror stuff or what?
Yeah, we didn't watch what's on your channel in case you want to send them.
We just noticed. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Just noticed the thumbnails.
Yeah, because we like to watch the short film just directly before reviewing it.
That's what we do.
So we don't watch any short films unless they're sent to us.
Yeah.
In case we might inadvertently spoil a reviewing experience. It's very important to us to keep it virgin.
Virgin.
And then we defile it.
Ooh.
See you guys later.
Are we done?
No.
Yeah.
No.
We just said thank you.
No, we're not done.
We're done.
Do you have more to say? What's up?